Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Brushes and Bunnies, and in this video I'm going to be talking about 5 sketching tips that I have learned over the past few years. The things that I'm going to be talking about in this video are processes that I do on a daily basis when I'm sketching in my sketchbook. These are meant to be quick tips, so I'm not going to be going on and on about them, but these are processes that I tend to do daily in my sketchbook. Anything from drawing guides at the very beginning of a sketchbook, or things like using fixative spray to help protect the sketch from smudging. So if you love sketching like I do and you want to learn more about tips and tricks on how to protect your work and/or things that will make sketching a little bit easier as you're going through your art journey, you can watch this video and yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about things that I tend to do all the time with sketchbooks and sketching. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I am posting daily some sketches and also paintings. I'm working a lot with gouache lately, so I'm quite excited to show you this sort of process that I'm doing, and I'll probably be doing some gouache watercolor video tutorials very soon. I'm just still learning how to do it. It's still quite hard, but I'm almost there, so I'm quite excited. And yeah, I've been posting daily. I'm doing a 365-day drawing challenge, so a drawing a day, and yeah, everything is being posted there, so if you want to check that out, you can check that out on my Instagram and Facebook. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Drawing guides are something that I tend to do when I start a new sketchbook or when I start learning something new that I've never drawn before. Dedicating a space in your sketchbook for drawing some guides is something that I think really helps in the long run, especially as you're going through your sketchbook, you're drawing things. You can always refer back to these guides that you drew at the very beginning of your sketchbook. In my case, I tend to draw guides that focus on human anatomy, something like the body or the proportions of a face. I will just dedicate a page and draw these guides and provide as much information as possible as to where certain features are located and or how to proportion a body with the head size. Looking back on all of the things that I have learned over the years, I have to say that this tip is probably one of my top tips that have helped me improve my overall drawing skill. Basically, having a guide that you do yourself at the beginning of the sketchbook or in a random page in your sketchbook, something that you can always refer back to, really does make life easier. This is a tip that I firmly stand by, and it's something that I actually actively do every time I have a sketching session or I want to spend the entire day doing art. I will start my day usually with practicing very, very loose sketching. Practicing how to draw shapes, practicing how to draw circles especially, will definitely help loosen up your wrist, which will then lead you to creating sketches that are less rigid and have more movement. I like to think of it as getting up in the morning and drinking a big cup of coffee. It just energizes you and gets you ready for the day. Same with this, just practicing loose sketching before getting into any sort of final piece of work that you want to create just kind of energizes you and brings up your confidence and yeah, loosens up the wrist so that you will have more movement in your drawings that you do throughout the day. So we've all been there. We've been sketching away in our sketchbook and you're feeling good about it and you're sketching away and you move your hand just to see that you smudged the entire right side of the character's face that you've been drawing, and now it looks like a total mess. I totally feel your pain because I've done this multiple times, and of course it happens to both left-handed and right-handed people. There are of course tricks to prevent this. Like, for example, if you're right-handed like I am, you start drawing on the left side of the page rather than on the right side, and vice versa for left-handed people. So that's one of the ways that you can avoid smudging. Another way is if you're drawing a full large piece, I tend to use paper towel. I will either leave it like a one sheet or I will fold it in half and just rest my hand very lightly on it as I'm sketching. And of course, as you're moving around your paper, you're going to want to pick up that paper towel so you avoid any other further smudging that may happen. You can also use paper if you want, or cardboard also works. A common tool used in sketching is a blending stump, or by its fancy name, a tortillon. And basically what it is a rolled up piece of paper that is sharpened to a point, and you can then use it just to smudge some of your graphite around and create some smooth transitions. The only problem when it comes to the blending stump is that as you continue using it to blend your graphite, of course the end of it will start to turn black. And this can cause problems later on when you're drawing something and you want to blend a very light graphite area. Your blending stump may be too dark for the value that you want to blend. The way that I clean my blending stumps is with sandpaper. Now you can get sandpaper at your local hardware store, and I believe you can also get it at the art store, although I never really actively looked out for it at the art store. I had leftover sandpaper from my renovations, so this is what I've been using, and it works really well. Essentially all you need to do is scrape your blending stump onto the sandpaper, and the graphite will start to come off. Of course, what you're doing is shaving the paper off. So for this, I would recommend to get sandpaper that has a fine, soft grain rather than something that is a little bit more textured, and you will get a very smooth result. One of the most annoying things that I've faced in a sketchbook is when a previous sketch that I created leaves an imprint on a page. This is another type of smudging that can happen when you're progressing through the pages of your sketchbook. The previous sketches may smudge or leave additional graphite marks after additional pressure. Graphite is the type of material that can easily smudge no matter what you do to it. Maybe with a light touch or something that has a little bit more pressure, you can easily smudge your work. But of course, there's a solution to that. Introducing the fixative spray. If you want to preserve a piece of artwork, I would recommend using a universal fixative spray. In this case, this is from Schmincke, and it is for pastel, watercolor, gouache, painting charcoal, and pencil. So I do use this on my sketches, and I also use this on my watercolor and gouache pieces. The spray has UV protection, it is colorless, it is non-yellowing, and of course age resistant. To use the spray, all you need to do is shake the can and spray from a distance of 30 to 40 centimeters away from the artwork. What I really like about this spray is that after use, you will notice that the colors change a little bit. So actually what ends up happening is that the colors do get a bit darker. And for me, I think it feels like there's a higher contrast that comes out, your colors become a little bit more vibrant, the darks become darker, and it kind of reminds me of after you finish an oil painting, you varnish, the colors really pop out. Something very similar happens with this spray, and it's something that I really like. And once you're done, you can be assured that your sketch will be forever preserved in your sketchbook, and you can then further avoid any smudging. And that's everything for this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and I hope you did learn something. If you have any other sketching tips, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to read your answers. And yeah, stay tuned for next week for the next art video. Have a great week, and we will see each other next weekend. Bye!